Hi everyone, it's Steph here if you don't already know. And on this channel, I just talk about all things careers and all things lifestyle. And in today's Black Excellence in the Law interview series, I am going to be speaking to the lovely Oluwapelumi Amanda Adeola. Now, this conversation is so insightful, so many gems are dropped, and you need to make sure that this is a pen and paper kind of thing. Like you've got your notepad down, ready to catch those gems. Please do make sure that, of course, you like, comment, and subscribe, and head over to our respective Instagram pages and give us a follow there to connect with us more.
Do you want to just take this opportunity to just introduce yourself, let the listeners know what it is you're doing, what stage are you at, and what kind of role do you have in the firm that you're working at?
Okay, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I remember we met at Durham University a few years ago, and it's just incredible to see how your career has grown from that law student who wants to be a lawyer to actually doing it in real life. So I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
So my name is Oluwapelumi Amanda Adeola. I'm a family law partner at BHP Law, which is a firm based in the northeast of England. I'm also a solicitor advocate with higher rights and civil proceedings. I deal with private law matters, so divorce, finance, private law children, sort of cohabitation agreement, prenups, etc. I qualified in 2009. So it's coming up to 12 years, I think, in October.
So you've been in the law, or you've been qualified, should I say, for about coming up to 12 years now, right? So tell us about your journey.
I got into law really, again, it's a cliche answer, but it's the God's honest truth. From being very young, I wanted to be a lawyer. I was born in Nigeria, in Kaduna State, in Nigeria. And growing up, I did see quite a lot of things that shouldn't be happening, and I wanted a career where I could make a difference. It was just that for me, where you have in your mind that you want to be, superwoman, but you don't have a cape. So therefore, a role in which I knew that I could actually help people and make a difference in people's lives without literally wearing a cape. And I knew the law was it for me. So I went on to do my degree. I didn't do very well in my A-levels. I'm always very open about that. And I kind of felt that my life was over at that point and I wouldn't get into university. But I was lucky and I got in through clearing. I was given the opportunity to show what I could do. Doing my degree was a struggle. I was working as well as studying, juggling so much at the same time. I came out with a 2-2. And I'm very proud of my 2-2, I have to say. And ended up struggling again to get a training contract. It just felt like one blow after another, after another, after another. But I think one of the things that stood with me are the supportive family that I have. And in the end, after finishing the LPC, I was given the opportunity to work with a firm in the northeast here. So my husband, who was my fiance at the time, got a job in Richmond in North Yorkshire. So I moved here with him. And his boss at the time introduced me to a partner of a firm. And I just kept bombarding him with emails and messages to say, I finished my, electives now, this is what I got. I finished my core modules now, this is what I got. Just to keep me in his mind.
Yeah.
And in the end, I got the email that says, we don't have a training contract because we already have one, but you can come and work as a paralegal for a few months to get some experience. Okay. And I took it with both arms, went in there. 3 months as a paralegal. After that, I was offered a training contract, which was just brilliant. Thank goodness, my career's just kind of soared, from then on, even though there's been challenges, I'm grateful for where I am today.
Okay, and I'm so glad you mentioned challenges because that leads me to my next question. I picked up on some of the things you mentioned. So I know, for example, you said whilst you were in uni, that was quite hard because you were working at the same time, balancing a whole load of other things as well. What obstacles/challenges do you feel like you have faced along your journey? And I guess particularly being a Black woman in the legal space.
I think one of the challenges that I had was not being in every space with my full self.
Okay.
So when I first got in, this is a region that isn't very diverse. The legal profession in this region isn't diverse. From having gone to university in Durham. And again, that's not being shady, but it's the reality. And whenever I go to events and places like that, you feel that you can't fully be who you are because you already stick out like a sore thumb. So you sort of dumb yourself down in that sense. And it took me a long time to say, actually, no, this is me. This is who I am. It's either you take me as I am or you're not the firm for me to be at.
Yeah.
The other thing that I faced was I kind of felt that it took me so long to get to the position that I am now, and that I was overlooked a lot.
Okay.
Whether it's because I was underestimated or people, I don't know, felt uncomfortable about, oh, should we be giving her a leadership position? Because if we do, you know, what's going to happen? And there were so many instances where I have felt personally that I've been overlooked, and it's been very painful, very painful. But you grin and bear it and you just keep going.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be that way. And that's why I'm very outspoken about, you know, diversity and inclusion, because I can't be working so hard and my colleagues are doing exactly the same thing I'm doing. Maybe they have less experience than me, but you think they're worthy of a more senior space than me, or, you know, they don't even work as hard as I am. For example, I'm doing so much outside of work, etc. But you still don't. And it's that word that I have heard constantly previously, you are not just ready. And I don't quite get what that means.
Yeah.
If you're telling me I'm not ready because you need to do X, Y, Z or the other, and you actually help me to do X, Y, Z and the other, and give me the training that I need. So say, for example, you say to me, you need more leadership skills.
Right.
But here, there's a leadership course that I think would benefit you. And if you go on to that, then perhaps we could revisit it again after you've done the course. But when you're constantly told that you're not ready, but not actually being told why you're not ready, it is very difficult to take that in. Because I think anyone who knows me, and this is me, again, humble brag, actually, let me not say this is me not trying to toot my own horn, but hey, humble brag, because we need to do it. I work very hard.
Yes.
Not because I want to show off or anything. I work hard because I love what I do.
Okay, so I guess on that same topic, what is something that you did, like I guess some tangible tips that you did for yourself to help you push through those times where you did feel like you were being overlooked? Because I think especially for young aspiring Black lawyers, whether it's solicitors, barristers, whatever kind of, you know, role they want to go into, there are times where they feel like they've put in their all into their application. They have networked with all the right people, they've made great connections, you know, Grad Recruitment seem to love them, the partners they met seem to love them, everything all seems to be tick, tick, tick in terms of the boxes. But for whatever reason, they feel like they're being overlooked and they're just not getting to that next stage. And it can be quite disheartening when that happens. So how did you kind of, I guess, motivate yourself or keep that discipline and that momentum to just keep going?
Yeah, I think it's important to have mentors, and that's where mine came in. And whenever I felt that way, and also I have an incredible husband. Whenever that's happened and I've come home crying because I'm really hurt by certain things, he sits me down and reminds me of the incredible things I've achieved, and to continue to, you know, focus more on enhancing myself rather than let the knockback sort of set me back. I had discussions with my, you know, mentors around, right, next time you're going to be having this meeting, what are the things that you need to have ready? And they talked to me about having my receipts ready. For example, how much I bill, you know, how many clients have come as a result of me, like my following, not any adverts or anything. And all of those things, just getting all your ducks in a row, really, for when you next have that conversation about, right, look here. And not being afraid to say what you want. And I think that's one of the things we get so scared to say. If we say what we want, people might think that we're arrogant, that we're not grateful, that we are overconfident, and therefore because of that, fear creeps in and you don't want to ask for what you actually deserve. You've got to be able to. But for aspiring lawyers where they feel like they've ticked all the boxes but still nothing, I think it's one of the most disheartening things to happen. And I wish I had this advice when I was going through it. Don't take it personal.
Yeah.
With applications in that sense, it's different when you're already in the career. But with the applications, don't take it personal. Because remember, there could be 10 spaces only and 1,000 applications.
True.
They can only give it to 10 people.
Yeah.
Ask them for feedback if they'll give you. If they won't give you feedback, because of, quite frankly, sometimes they say they can't, because you can't give feedback to 1,000 people.
Yeah.
But just sit back again and look at what you've done, because we are sometimes, you know, I could do an exam and think, Jesus, I aced this exam, it was incredible. And then the results come out and it's 50%. I'm like, what the hell happened here? It's not you, but just regroup. What did I do at this interview? What can I change?
Yeah.
But grieve in the way you want to grieve. If you're annoyed, disappointed, whatever, you want to break something, do it. But just make sure that you pick yourself up and you keep going. Don't let it define you. Don't let it get in your head and therefore affect your psyche in terms of being able to go again.
Yeah. Touching on something that you did mention a little bit before in terms of diversity in the industry, and I guess diversity in the North, but in all honesty, it's in the legal industry as a whole, right? So what does diversity and inclusion, because I think the two do go hand in hand, what does that look like to you?
You're quite right that they go hand in hand. There's no diversity without inclusion. There's no point in having an organization that's full of, you know, different people, but they don't feel a part of your firm.
Yeah.
That is just doing it for aesthetics. So the people who look at you from the outside go, oh, this is a very diverse firm, I'm going to join them. But then when you're in, if you have an idea, they shut it down because nobody wants to hear from you. As you say, the profession is changing. And we are seeing a lot more of people that look like me, like you know, Asian, Chinese, from all walks of life, now believing and knowing that they too have a place in the legal profession.
Yeah.
And it's thanks to the work of a lot of people who are trying to dispel the myth that, you know, for you to be in the legal profession, you've got to be white, middle class, and go to Oxford or Cambridge or upper class or whatever it is. But that's not representative of our society, of everybody in our society.
Yeah.
And the profession has to have people who are able to represent every single one of us in whatever capacity that we need. What happened with the pandemic and the lockdown and everybody being at home and people realizing that actually we don't all need to be in the office, and all this stressing that everybody has to be at work, we need to see bums on seats and things like that. It's not the way forward. I go to work, I start, normally it's 8:30 to 4:30 I do, so that I can leave on time to pick up the children when we were still all going to the office. But now I get in for about 9:30 because I need to drop them at school.
Yeah.
And I leave at about 2:30 because I need to pick them up. But I still get my work done. It doesn't have an impact on my business.
Definitely one or the other with diversity and inclusion. And there's a right answer, if we're being honest. You need to just be accepting of it. And I guess the next question I have for you kind of leads on quite nicely as well, because on the inclusion point, I think people need to feel comfortable to be authentically themselves for the industry to then also be able to include them and make sure that they feel comfortable working in the space. So I guess my question to you is, how do you navigate being authentically yourself? And then as like a side question, how would you encourage aspiring Black solicitors to do the same? How should they also kind of approach the industry knowing that they can come as their full selves?
You notice that I've got my hair cut, right?
Yes, and I love it.
I think that was the first, well, not the first step for me, one of my steps. You have to understand that being your authentic self, it's a journey. You are growing as a person.
Yeah.
And you have to allow yourself the grace to grow. When you dumb down who you are, it gets tiring being somebody else. So from the start, anywhere you go, introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Be bold with yourself. You heard at the beginning, I've stopped saying that my name is Amanda Adeola now, because my full names are Oluwapelumi Amanda Adeola, right? The reason why I took out the Oluwapelumi and put it in the middle was when I was struggling to get in. And people would see my name and immediately it's either I never got a response back or it was, unfortunately, there's no space. And I didn't know why that was happening. And when I switched my name back, I was getting more response, even though it wasn't favorable. But you could just think, because the assumption is that, you know, you're probably mixed race, or you may be black, or you may be white and married somebody who's black because your surname, just as me. And those are those ingrained biases that people have. So being yourself should just come easy.
Yeah.
But it starts with loving yourself first. Don't beat yourself up. I think we just put ourselves under so much pressure. Society does that as well.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I do feel like, me as a black person in a leadership position, I feel so much pressure to just be present, because I feel like it is important for people like you, others behind me, to see me and know that they too can do it.
Yeah.
But with that growth comes, oh, actually, I do need to slow down because it's a bit much now and I'm tired. So remembering that you as a person is growing and allowing yourself the grace to just say, this is me, this is who I am, take me as I am, I'm not changing. If you don't like me, keep it pushing, basically.
I definitely agree that it's very motivational, and I agree with what you're saying in the sense that it starts from within. You can't expect people to accept who you are if you don't accept yourself, right? So you need to take that first step. You need to, like, it's a journey, but you need to be, I guess, thinking positively about yourself, accepting yourself in a positive way, and accepting that you're growing. And then we can work on the industry accepting you as well. And like your mum said at the beginning, sometimes it's not the fun for you, and that's okay.
That's okay, exactly. And you know, when you start to accept yourself, you start to think differently. I do this thing all the time, and people at work have literally had enough of me. When I walk into the office and I just catch a glimpse of myself, I look around and I go, Jesus Christ, I'm beautiful. And they look at me thinking, what is wrong with you? But it's the truth.
Yeah.
But that's because I love who I'm growing to be.
Yeah.
This woman right here have sort of withered the storm, and you need to look at yourself and think, you've done so well, girl. Congratulations to yourself.
Well, thank you. And the final question then that I would like you to, I guess, leave your imparting words of wisdom. What top tips, considering that you are 12 years in the game, like you're 12 years deep now, you must have some amazing tips for aspiring lawyers. So what are your top tips for people who are now trying to get into the industry?
I think we already talked about it, really being yourself.
Yeah.
I don't like it when people come at me and they want support and things and they're pretending to be somebody else. You're talking to me and you're, you know, putting on an accent that's not necessary. I see through all of that.
Yeah.
And if I can, anybody else can. So just representing who you are and being confident in who you are is very important.
Yeah.
And as I said, don't take rejections personally. It hurts. And nobody should tell you, oh, there's no need to cry, another one will come. You need to cry and get it out of your system. And then you regroup and do it again.
Yeah.
It's important. But don't have a sense of entitlement. Nobody owes you jack. Nobody. Not even if you help their child do help with GCSE homework. Nobody owes you anything.
Yeah.
You have to work hard for what you want. And don't think it's going to be handed to you on a silver platter.
Yeah.
I think as Black people as well, we need to understand that it is tough out here, but there is nothing impossible.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing, no matter how tough it gets. We have so many incredible role models to look up to who have been through struggles and they are breaking down barriers. I name, Stephanie Boyce, for example, Sally Penny. There's just so many. I can't name them all. And you need to see those people and use them to believe that you also can do it.
Yeah.
Sandy Okoro as well as another one. They're just some amazing, amazing lawyers out there who are there trailing the blaze for us, who are coming behind them. And you really need to look at those people and know that you too can make it. Don't envy anybody else's path. I always use my father's analogy when we speak. He said to me one time, I had my watch on and he had his watch on, and he asked me for the time, and I told him. And he said, well, wouldn't you ask me for my time? And I asked him, and he told me. And our watches were about a minute apart.
Yeah.
And he said, if you're catching a train back home now, whose time would you go by, mine or yours? I said, well, mine. And he said, well, there you go. You do things in accordance with your own time, not somebody else's time. I sit here and I think, that little girl from Nigeria who said she wanted to be a lawyer. And look at me now. It just takes hard work, perseverance, accepting the knockbacks, learning from them, and never giving up.
I love that. Thank you so much, Amanda. Honestly, this has been, even for me, this has been so inspirational and so motivational. I feel like I can go into the next phase of my training contract. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm honored. I'm so proud of you. I've told you, I really, really am.
Final thing then, if anyone wants to get in contact with you, if anyone wants to learn a bit more about family law or just seeking your mentorship or just to connect, to just see what you're doing, where can people find you?
So I'm on Twitter at Amanda Adeola. I'm on Instagram at Chronicles of a Family Solicitor. And I'm on LinkedIn with my full name, Oluwapelumi Amanda Adeola. So yes.
So that's it. Those are the wonderful, wise words from our one and only Amanda. Honestly, if you haven't left after watching this feeling empowered, you were clearly watching the wrong video. This was one of the best interviews I think I've done. As ever, please do make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back again next week with another video. Bye.